Welcome to another edition of Truckside Chats with Buck Outdoor Stormwater Solutions. Today we're going to talk about how to handle water flow on your property. All right, so welcome back to Buck Outdoor Stormwater Solutions. My name's Benji Buck. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And we're going to be talking about how do you direct and control flow of water on your property. It's a common question that we get asked here at Buck Outdoors, and there's some solutions. We're going to break them up into about 3 different categories. You can absorb that water, you can reroute that water, or you can slow the water flow down. And really this is your tolerance level and the use of your space all comes into play when we're talking about what the right solution is. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing, but this will give you at least some of the options to consider as you look at the problem of water flow on your property. So let's just take the first one here. Let's talk about redirecting the water first. A lot of times people will take like a 9-inch or a 12-inch catch basin, bury it in the ground, bury a series of them connected with drain pipes underground that daylights out somewhere at a lower elevation. A lot of people like to use these pop-ups. If you're not familiar with them, don't get familiar with them. I'm sure there are a lot of people, especially the people that make them, that would disagree with me. They just get broken easily. So they work until they don't. And that pop-up gets broken and gets clogged. A lot of times when I get phone calls because there's water seeping into someone's basement and they got their basement walls are getting wet after every rain event, it's because these dadgum things have broken. Not every time, but often enough that I try to avoid people from using the pop-ups. I rather just daylight it at a lower elevation, and it works just fine. But when that's not the right way to go, using a swell is definitely a good solution. This is where you're going to basically dig a very, very shallow but wide ditch in your property so that the water gets in it and it's going to flow. You got to have an elevation change in that swell so that the water is moving in the direction that you want. It generally requires a lot of grading, and then you're going to come back in and put your sod back in or regrass that area. But the swell, I like to use the swell for redirecting. A lot of times people will make it a visually pleasing feature in their yard by using riverstone in there, and the price of riverstone has jumped drastically, just like everything else. I just don't know that many people can make much use out of that. So, just a grassy swell will do the job just fine. So that's redirecting. Another way is to absorb the water, and also I'll put in there if a swell and catch basins with a drain pipe is catch and release, this would be catch and use. So the absorption would be like a rain garden, and these rain gardens, you can really make a beautiful rain garden, and I refer to them as camel plants. I've never heard anyone else use that, so maybe we can start a new word, new term. But the camel plant is a plant that can withstand the dry weather, but during a rainy event, it thrives by absorbing that water and then storing it for a long period of time for the dry times. And usually you're going to see this being a thicker stem, perhaps even a larger leaf or multi-leaf plant, abundant leaf plant. I guess they're all multi, but an abundant leaf plant that's really going to come in and absorb that water, so that it has what it needs during the dry times. But these rain gardens, they're fun to build. If you're a DIYer, you're going to geek out over a rain garden, because there's a lot of videos out there on how to build a rain garden, and you're going to use different types of stone, and there's different ways to collect the water, but basically you're collecting water and absorbing it. The other way is they've got these things that are becoming more and more popular. We've talked about them in other videos, but they're referred to as rain harvesting, rain barrels. These rain barrels can be attached to your downspouts, and the way they make them now, they really can be a cool feature in a garden. Use them to hang plants on, and just be part of the visual appearance of your decorating outside. But then you take what's the term I'm looking for? A soaker hose. You take a soaker hose and run that through your flower bed, and it's slowly going to release water over time. So you have a rain event, and instead of that water coming down out of the gutters and just going into the waterway, you've caught it, and then you're using it over the next, usually a storm tank will last you a good 36 to 72 hours, depending on the size of tank and what kind of soaker hoses you're using, that sort of stuff. But it's a really neat way to catch and reuse the water on your property. The third aspect we're going to talk about is it just doesn't get used as much on properties that are going to be walked on and more visible, and that would be an energy dissipator. So this slows the flow down, but it's something worth talking about. Basically level spreaders, which is going to be a trench that has a concrete wall in it, that trench fills up, and then it flows over the concrete, almost looks like a footer, but it spreads that flow out over more space, so it's not concentrated in one area. So that's a level spreader. You can a lot of people will use river rock or mulch beds to build up berms to prevent water from going into a particular area. The mulch idea, you've got to accompany that with some sort of concrete edging, brick edging, to hold that mulch in place. And then because the mulch is absorbing all this water, it starts getting moldy and faded very quickly. And I'm just not a real big fan. I would much rather build a retention wall that actually acts as a level spreader than having the mulch, just because it's high maintenance. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper up front, but man, it looks gnarly after about 2.5-3 months. I'm not a big fan of using the mulch beds as stormwater BMPs. A lot of people do. A lot of people will disagree with me, and that's fine. Maybe they're right and I'm wrong, but not being wrong on purpose. When we come to the discussion of controlling water on our area, we've got 3 choices. We can either redirect it, absorb it and reuse it. Those are 2 subcategories. And then third is we can just divert it, slow it down. And I hope this helps. If you have stormwater issues, runoff issues on your property, I hope these little conversations like this help you, just knowing what your options are when you call a landscaper or call a stormwater professional to come in and help you. You at least know a little bit more about the options that you have from an independent person who just, and I don't know your situation, I don't know all the details, so I'm not going to tell you which one's best for you, but those are some things to consider, and those are your options from a very, very, very broad perspective. Hey, thanks for watching. This is Buck Outdoors Stormwater Solutions. You're watching Truckside Chats. If these little conversations are something that you enjoy, or if this particular conversation was something you enjoyed, hit the like button, and even feel free to share our content on on your community pages. I know these are the types of questions people are asking. That's what we try to hit. But again, my name's Benji Buck with Buck Outdoor Stormwater Solutions. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.